Hello everyone, it's Kirst. You know me, solving crimes, or trying to, looking at crimes, all of that sort of stuff through the lens of astrology. Now, today we are going to be looking the murder of Maliyah Tuti Base, who went missing on the 22nd of August, was found on the 23rd of August. She's only 2 years old. Her body was found on the very next day. Her mother and her mother's boyfriend have been arrested and charged with injury to a child and tampering with evidence. In other words, they killed her. Allegedly, I have to say that. You know what, I think I might have to name some of this stuff now. Mothers that just want their kids out of the way when they get themselves a new damn boyfriend. What is it with these women and allowing men into their homes and then doing this and killing their kids? You don't kill the child just to get rid of them. You can take them somewhere else. You can, for God's sake, you can drop them at a church. You can drop them at a police station. They could have given this beautiful little girl back to her dad. But no, they killed her instead. I can barely even put up cases now because these assholes move people. They move their children. It gives away too much information. I wanted to do this case and another couple of cases. I haven't been able to do them. I can't put them out on YouTube for you guys to learn from because these sons of bitches watch them. Move them. They watch all the YouTube videos, not just mine. But I tell you what, the two that killed this little girl are absolute idiots. And I'll tell you why as we go through the charts. So I've done a lot of research and I've got some times and I've got a map. In hindsight, we can look at the map and see that she would have been found on one of the lines, as always. So without further ado, let's have a look at some charts in relation to when beautiful little Maliyah went missing. Then when the mother was crying and carrying on, when she called 911, and then when I believe that she was actually murdered. Okay, so as usual we have three charts here. Now 9 a.m. is when her mother was sitting on the steps going, "Oh my God, where's Maliyah? Where's my baby?" And it's on YouTube. You can see the act that she put on and the boyfriend. It's just gross. I don't know how these people think they can get away with it on TV. Too many people are watching, like they're crazy. So I've got 9 a.m. and then I have 9:30, and then I have the time when I actually think that they did something to her or when she probably passed away. See, it's interesting, and it's made me realise something. Looking at these charts and having to put them up after and in hindsight, when we know times, and then when I start trying to rectify it back to the time of death, each chart shows us something different. So when her mother was on apparently on the steps crying, "Where's my baby?" and started to see that she was missing, this is the chart here. When she suddenly decided to call 911, this is the chart. So, you know, I'm going to start to look at a few different rulerships, but I can in this instance because little Maliyah is represented by predominantly the moon. She's under 5 years old. So the moon is where we need to look for her. Of course you do look to a ruling planet as well, but here we have the mother and the boyfriend doing the acting in front of us. The mother making a phone call to 911, the Amber Alert. It's everything that the mother's done, and the child is already gone by now. So I'm not going to solely put Maliyah on the ascendant at these points in times. We're going to go with the question and what we're looking at exactly. So in saying that, at 9 a.m. that day, the mum and boyfriend of the mother apparently is desperately looking for her. Does this chart show us that that's the case? Okay, so 9 a.m. The mother is what we're really looking at now, the mother and the boyfriend. So let's put them on the ascendant right now. The ascendant is 26 degrees of Virgo. Virgo's rulership, is Mercury. Two people. So two people are apparently looking. Well, Mercury sits in the 12th house, this area here, that's hidden and secretive. They're not looking. They didn't even leave their apartment block. They looked in the pool, they looked around the area, and then they gave a big performance. See this line over here? To Mars. In the 8th house of death. So we've got 12th house related to the 8th house here already. Now, we're talking about a deceased body. It's Saturn, and that's at 26 degrees of Capricorn in the 4th house of the end of the matter. That's making a square to Mars. So we have two people hiding away, not looking. We've got the sun at 29 degrees, that's the man, the boyfriend. The rulership at this point over here with a perpetrator is Jupiter, which is in that 4th house of the end of the matter as well, conjunct this. So we've got anger and the body and the two people that are apparently concerned. So they're looking for the baby, and the baby is the moon here at 17 degrees of Libra, right in front of them. So that doesn't mean the baby's literally in front of them, which actually I think she was, because they put the baby down a storm drain, which I'm going to talk about afterwards. It's just disgusting. But when they're looking, they know where that baby is. They absolutely know where she is. The end of the matter is 26 degrees of Sagittarius, so ruled by Jupiter, which is the perpetrator over here. And Neptune is Pisces as well, and right there in the house of health. I think that the boyfriend did this, actually. So we have little baby as the moon in Libra, so that's disposed of by Venus at 14 degrees up here in the 10th house. The 10th house, so what the public sees, is 26 degrees of Gemini. And then we have Mars and Uranus in the 8th house of death. So they know that she's not alive at this point in time. So let's have a look at 9:30 when they actually call the police and see what happens there. So here's 9:30 up here. It's when she alerted everybody. Oops. So now, how are we going to perceive this? What we need to look at is that the mother is calling 911 about Maliyah. Okay, so the ascendant now is in Libra, so the ruler of that is Venus. Okay, so there's a woman and in Cancer at home, Pretty sure that's mum here, Venus. Okay, again, still, little Maliyah is in the first house, so the mum's making a phone call but knows what's going on. At this point, when the two of them were ruled by Virgo and Mercury, Mercury's now moved into the 11th house. So it's time to tell other people and hopes and dreams, hope to God that other people believe them. Anyway, I digress. So we need to look at the 3rd house, because she made a phone call to the police, right? The 3rd house is Sagittarius on the cusp, and that's Jupiter. In the 4th house of the end of the matter. So she's calling about her daughter being missing. So we look at a couple of things. Being missing is the 2nd house cusp, which is in Scorpio. That's Mars. And the 8th house, what's happened to her, is just in Taurus there, which is also ruled by Venus. So she's making a phone call about something that she already knows about, and Mars is now the ruler of the perpetrator, angry old Mars, which is here, right next to the 8th house cusp. So in other words, she knows that she's making a phone call about something that's already happened. The perpetrator before was Jupiter, and she was lying about it too, by the way, Neptune and Pisces. And then it all heads back up to Mars, which is really the perpetrator, angry old Mars, going near the 8th house of death. So she made that phone call knowing full well that Maliyah was deceased. Now in here, Venus, I'm going to show you some things. Venus is important, the moon is important, and Mars is important. So we're going to look at the map shortly, and you're going to see what you'll understand, and I will keep showing you as we go how it works out in the map as well. So now let's have a look at the chart that I did when I believe she was actually killed, because I believe she was killed during the night, and maybe it was when she was disposed of into the drain, because the drain is I'll show you that as I go. But let's have a look at this other chart. Oh, before we do, it was the boyfriend had said that they had left the baby alone at night and went to the store. So that to me is a bit of a red flag too, that something was going on during the middle of the night. So here's the chart for what I think is Maliyah's death. The 22nd of August, still that same day, but at 1:50 a.m. This is the chart that I got to. Now, there's a few things that really indicate what happened here. First of all, we have Gemini on the ascendant. So at this point, we're looking at Maliyah, and if Gemini is on the ascendant, Mercury is her secondary ruler, and the moon is her ruler. Okay, so Mercury is right here at 4 degrees of Virgo, conjunct the Sun, but in the 3rd house, and conjunct the 4th house cusp in Virgo. So we're going, the end of the matter is now Virgo, which was the 9 a.m. chart where the mum was all, wow, what's going on? So now we have Maliyah and the two people basically representative of this at the end of the matter. The moon is conjunct the 5th house cusp, which is our first child, at 13 degrees of Libra. And Venus, which was important, as I said, is now in the first house. So the mother is right there in front of baby, making a square, see 14, and then see this red line here to the moon, almost exactly. So that's the mother handling her child who is likely deceased at this point. Now, not only that, we have that aspect from Mars to the ascendant, which is baby. Sagittarius, which is the ruler of Jupiter. Again, we're going back to that. So the perpetrator, Jupiter, is right in the 8th house of death, right on the cusp there, along with Pluto and Saturn, which is the deceased body of the baby. So it all moved into the 8th house. The moon lined up well with Venus. The Gemini ascendant at 23 degrees. That is really important, and I'm going to show you right now why. It's where she was found on the map. The address from here, this True Crime Society page, which is very good, by the way. We've got a few addresses there. Popped it into Scribble Maps, and this is what we came up with. I didn't draw that line there because I didn't need to, but this is the address that she was last seen, 10600 of Beechnut Street. She was found 14 miles and 30 out. That's the red line here. So 14 miles is 14, and 14 is Venus. Now, the direction of the line is 23 degrees of Gemini. So have a look back here and have a look now. You'll see that initially at 9 o'clock the MC was 26 of Gemini, so very, very close. And then the time of 1:50, when I believe that something happened to her, the ascendant was at 23 of Gemini. Now, there is something that's interesting to me, and that, I'll just get it over here. Babies are often, this is awful to say, but when somebody dumps a baby somewhere, or a young child, the moon always shows us what's going on. So I found out that they didn't take her and dump her into the Brays Bayou, which is where she was found. Let's get back over there. I'll show you the area. So this Brays Bayou. Now this is Houston, Texas. So if you're from Houston, Texas and around this area, you might know where I'm heading with this. She was found here 14 miles away from her home, but she was dumped in a storm drain. Now, storm drains specifically in this area there's flooding. It's inadequate, and it was years ago, so they're fixing it. So I looked into Brays Bayou water system, and right where they live there was a big upgrade in the water system. But my lord, did these people really not think that she was going to pop up into the bayou? So they've put her somewhere close by, and I think it's down here on the moon line. And here is where we have some water. Now obviously up here we do too, so it could be up here Not saying I'm right. I'm sure we'll find out. So here, maybe, this moon line, maybe she was put into a storm drain there. But storm drains, I'll try and get the picture. Oh, I haven't got the picture. Oh, drains are ruled by the moon and Neptune, by the way. So have a look at this. This is where she probably popped out from at some point, or because if you put a baby in a storm drain and then they're found in a bayou, they've come out of the storm drain. So these extremely unintelligent assholes, bayous are Neptune. They've put her in a storm drain that she's obviously going to come out of. And as soon as the flooding would have started again, she would have been found. So there's no thought behind anything. Literally just, I need to get rid of this child. I'm going to kill the child. There's no forethought of that they're even going to get caught. You know, it took me maybe an hour to look into the water system of Houston and to realise that it's a major issue, and that very bayou that they put her in, or that she ended up in, the storm drain that they put her in was obviously going to get to the bayou or bayou. So, you know, it's insanity, absolute insanity. The whole thing's insanity. I can't believe that mothers are doing this, and they're doing it all of the time. So, yep, that is what's what. That didn't need to go out there because I don't think they took her all the way down here. They put her in a storm drain close by home. Like I said, we need to be realistic. Probably this one here because it's close by, and people that do that are extremely lazy. They don't go to any effort to try and do anything properly, because they're so stupid. Thank God, which is why they get caught. They're so stupid, they go onto TV, they pretend to cry, they put the bodies in stupid spots, they have no clue what they're doing, thank God. So these mother annihilators are idiots. Anyway, I digress. I think that she was put down here and then she's gone into the Brays Bayou. And it does go this way. When you look at a map like this, you think, how does that go that way? But it does. So she was put in, and it's followed the path, which then goes up and crosses over to where she's found out here. So I don't think they expected that to happen, but it was inevitable because Saturn went stationary, Pluto went stationary, everything came to a halt, and now we're going to start seeing people being arrested for the crimes they committed around that time. And especially when Saturn and Mars were squaring. So the anger that came about with people, and then they tried to hide bodies and kill people, their time's coming to an end. So yeah, it's so sad, really, really sad. But by looking, yeah, here we go. So by looking at this chart here, I think this really shows us what happened. We can see now as well that Neptune is on the 10th house cusp for the public to see, Pisces and Neptune, which is the bayou. That's why we see her in a bayou and coming from a drain. It's so sad. Anyway, I hope you learnt something from this. I apologise that I can't do them before, but I just don't trust that people aren't watching, sadly. Okay guys, take care. Bye.